SMU, the good old days were too good to be true. College football's Icarus soared to incredible heights, only to plummet into the deepest abyss. Since the infamous death penalty more than 3 decades ago, SMU has become the ultimate cautionary tale, surviving on the fringes with only modest success. That is, until now. All the way here in Tampa, and you can hear the echoes these days of Dandy Don and Doak and the Pony Express. ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV, and SMU rides a 4-0 record into Raymond James Stadium. Its best start since that year the clocks were striking 13. Today, it's SMU putting that perfect record on the line against South Florida, the American Conference opener for both. And welcome to Tampa and Ish Shroff alongside former Longhorn Ahmad Brooks. Chris Budden is down on the field. Well, we like a resurgent story in sports, and SMU has been one this year. 4-0, best start since 1984. They've done it with Texans and transfers, and a lot of these transfers are Texans coming home, like quarterback Shane Buechele.
Yeah, Shane has stabilized his team at the quarterback position and also in a leadership role. And some of the things that have made him bad to the bone this year, you haven't seen in his game in years past. Let's go to his pocket mobility and his patience. Here you have an opportunity to see where TCU has a 3-man rush, and as the pocket is caving in from that left side, he feels the pressure, steps up in a cozy pocket, and moves swiftly and smartly while making the throw to Robertson. Big gain there. And that actually led them to an opportunity there in the first quarter. He comes back here. Now, this is a big 16-yard scramble. Nowhere to throw. Everyone's covered up. What does he do? He scrambles for 16 yards, which sets up SMU's final touchdown run. Still needs to work on those moves, the coaching staff says, but that's been the difference in his game. Shane Buechele is now using his feet, buying time, and also beating people with his arm.
Buechele, a former Texas Longhorn, his head coach in Austin, Charley Strong, only 1 season together. Strong's last season, and Buechele started as a true freshman that year. Those two reunited, but on opposite sidelines today. SMU won the toss. They will receive the opening kick. Trent Schneider sends it into the air, and the dangerous C.J. Sanders will watch it go deep into the end zone as we say hello to Chris Budden.
Well, Shane Buechele still has a ton of respect for his former coach in Charley Strong, telling me he was a man of high character, a family man, and a lot of the reason that he went to Texas. So when Buechele's name popped up in the transfer portal, Charley Strong gave him a call. Now, Charley told me I didn't think he was going to come here, but I might as well pick up the phone. A lot of coaches picked up the phone to try and recruit Buechele, but at the end of the day, Buechele telling me it was an opportunity to play close to home and, more importantly, an opportunity to play right away for a team on the rise.
Arlington native, going to the school, branding itself as Dallas's program. He's looking for Galliard. It's tipped. Galliard catches it off the deflection and brought down by Mike Hampton. A gain of 17 and a missed opportunity for South Florida.
No doubt about it. And Hampton just guesses on this route. They're in their RPO package. And Shane Buechele doesn't have great arm strength. That time struggling to get it to the outside.
SMU going quickly, and a gain of 10 for Xavier Jones, leading not just the Mustangs, but the conference in rushing. Back to the air. Galliard again. Got a nice block on the outside. And the speedy slot receiver pushed out by Nick Roberts after more chunk yardage, 23 from Myron Galliard.
This is where the pace of play can really get on you. And if you're the Bulls right now, their defensive coordinator, Brian John Marie, has to call plays extremely quickly.
Looking for Robertson. He makes the catch. Wrapped up by Sales inside the 10. Reggie Robertson leading the AAC in receiving yards. One of the top receivers in the league a season ago. Began his career at West Virginia.
He's a smooth operator, gets in and out of his routes extremely well, and one of Shane Buechele's top targets.
Red zone now for SMU, and this is an area they can be better. Robertson motions. Jones gets a good block from Ryan Becker, and Xavier Jones with the first touchdown of this game, the tight end clearing the way.
And the Bulls right now are just disappointed. I mean, this drive started off where you should pick off a pass, and now you come back and they really started to press the gas. And SMU with some good fortune. But Xavier Jones, when I watch this kid on film, he's a powerful runner. He's strong. And at 208, he runs like he weighs a lot more than that.
He has just tied the great Doak Walker for 4th on the all-time touchdown list at SMU. 31 career TDs for Xavier Jones. Becker clearing the path. Jones finding the way. Paul Lane, a former SMU cheerleader, has not missed a Mustangs game, home or away, in 47 years. Today, his 512th consecutive SMU game. There have been some incredible highs, but the last 30 years or so, there have been a lot of lows. And if SMU wins today, they go back to the Boulevard for next week's game against Tulsa with a chance to be ranked for the first time since 1986.
That's amazing, and it certainly brings back some great memories of the Pony Express and some of the better times for this university.
Jaquez Evans to the 20. Jordan McLeod will make his 2nd career start at quarterback for South Florida. Going into the season, Blake Barnett, the former Alabama quarterback, was expected to be the guy. There was no real controversy, but this offense struggled in 2 games against Wisconsin and Georgia Tech. McLeod came in late in the Georgia Tech game, started 2 weeks ago against South Carolina State, and that win 2 weeks ago is South Florida's only win. They're coming off a bye week. On first down, this is Johnny Ford, moved to wide receiver this year. He was terrific as a running back a year ago. He's a playmaker, Ahmad. They have to find a way to get him the ball in as many different ways as they can.
Yeah, and the coaching staff was adamant. Kerwin Bell, the offense coordinator, said, we'd like to get him double-digit touches. And he's the guy that they believe is the man beater. He can beat one-on-one coverage no matter where you put him, and they'll be looking for him today.
Empty look here on 2nd down. McLeod will keep it and pops ahead to about the 15-yard line. A 3rd down now for USF. They have not been great on 3rd down this season, only 31%.
And I like what they're doing right now with offensively. They've got 4 wides in, which makes it a lot easier for this freshman quarterback to be able to decipher pre-snap whether it's man or zone coverage, because they will mix it up. SMU will, and so I think right now he's doing a good job. Watch for the quarterback draw in these types of situations.
Watch Nelson off the edge. McLeod downfield, man open, it's caught! Cronkrite out of the backfield, a gain of 31.
Whoa, I mean, just put a sock in my mouth there with a beautifully placed, thrown ball in an accurate location. And I mean, he threw this like a veteran. Right on the money as they got the matchup they wanted with their running back on Richard McBride, their linebacker.
Now this is Cronkrite again, and he pushes up into SMU territory to the 46. McBride is starting again at middle linebacker, the Auburn transfer, in place of Richard Moore. Moore was SMU's top tackler, a big piece on this defense. He's out for the season.
That's a big loss, but now you're looking for a guy like McBride to step up. I think he's capable of that, and you know, he was lost in coverage. He ended up taking an inappropriate angle, and that's what allowed Cronkrite to get over the top.
Nelson blitzing off the edge. McLeod down the sideline, incomplete. Armani Jones had the coverage on Randall St. Felix.
St. Felix, you got to make that catch. That's the one-on-one matchup. He made the right decision as you watch the end of this play. And this is a ball where he's just giving his wide receiver a chance. I mean, and it literally hits him in the numbers and he drops it. One thing I'll say, he tried to catch it with his chest. Catch it with those hands. Make sure you secure that catch before you come down.
Kelly Joyner in the backfield. 3rd and 7. Pressure from the edge. Again, down the sideline. Incomplete. Good coverage by Johnson. And it's 4th down.
That's outstanding coverage. I mean, I'm going to tell you what he read is he was in the prime location.
SMU again being hit hard by injuries at that middle linebacker position. Richard Moore, their top tackler last year, out for the season. Now McBride out of the game. Delano Robinson does come in at linebacker for SMU. It's 4th down. South Florida will go for it. Five-man pressure. McLeod will run. Gets past Robinson. He's got a 1st down and more. Into the red zone. Jordan McLeod with his feet. This is a young man who played running back all the way through his freshman year of high school. Then moved to defensive back. Then quarterback. Didn't start at quarterback till he was a high school senior.
That was an outstanding decision. I mean, who cares about the run? It was the decision he made. He didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. And oftentimes when you've got a young quarterback, some coaches will take their natural ability to run away. And Colonel Bell has done a good job of just letting this kid play and guiding him. That time there, it worked for him.
41, Preston Ellison in at linebacker for SMU. McLeod looking for 6. It's caught. Did he complete the catch?
He thinks he's got his foot down.
Jacob Mathis thought he had it, but it's ruled incomplete.
Let's check out this replay and see if he can get one of those feet in. Great ball skills. I mean, this ball is thrown a tad bit late. If he throws it earlier, it allows him the time and the space.
That's a good call.
And definitely a great call as Armani Johnson forces him out of bounds.
Foot landed out of bounds first. 2nd down. Cronkrite up the middle to the 13-yard line. They're waiting for him to get going. Cronkrite began his career at Florida. He's got 4 of the 15 longest runs in school history, but his long run this year so far, just 10. And not all of that is on him. The offensive line does have to play better.
Anish, this is the 16th play of the drive. They've had the ball for 77 yards. They're rolling.
McLeod to the air. End zone intercepted. Rodney Clemens with the INT. And South Florida, like a writer, penning prose beautifully, but just can't punctuate.
You know what? And they were just narrowly missed being a ranked team, but this is what makes SMU so good. I mean, that is outstanding coverage on one of the top tight ends in the country, not just in the American. As Wilcox, he just gets bodied up by the smaller 6', 205 senior Rodney Clemens out of Katy, Texas. Outstanding interception. Not only does it take points away, but he gives it back to this offense that seems to be rolling as well. And that'll be a pick and a memory for him a long time to come.
The takeaway streak continues for SMU. Clemens wears number 23. That number has been handpicked by the coaching staff for one player every year since 2009 to honor Jerry Levias, the first African-American to play in the Southwest Conference. Bulls showing blitz. Buechele moves the pocket. Throws to the field. Prochet broke the initial tackle and fights his way to the 30. He's going to be close to a 1st down, but there is a flag at the end of the play.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Another penalty. That's 3 in this 1st quarter now on South Florida.
Yeah, and Mike Hampton, who dropped an interception and then the last scoring drive, now comes back with a costly penalty. And you know, and Shane Buechele's gotten a lot of credit, but Prochet and Robertson have really given this offense a boost with their playmaking abilities on the edge. 2
of the top receivers in the conference. Jones out of the backfield. Good blocking up front. And Jones had a nice legion to spring him for a gain of 12.
I'm glad you mentioned the blocking because all 3 of the Bulls defenders were locked up and engaged with Mustang blockers.
Buechele, swing pass to Robertson. Changing direction and gets close to the original line of scrimmage, 2nd and long. Reggie Robertson transferred in from West Virginia a few years ago and really opened the eyes of this coaching staff to the transfer portal and what it could mean for SMU. They've mined it well. This is Jones mining for yards right up the gut. And it sets up a 3rd and manageable, a gain of 9.
I'll tell you what the Bulls are not handling right now is the pace of play. I mean, it's just really wearing on them. And as SMU continues to press the gas, it makes it extremely difficult. That time there, they weren't even set up for the run. And Jones just pops one right up the middle as you've got a 3rd down now. It appears as though they're going man-to-man, 1 free, 1 high safety, meaning they're going to try to take away the run here and force Buechele to beat him with their arm.
They'll run it. It's Jones. He breaks free. See you later. Touchdown. Xavier Jones, his 2nd of the day.
Wow. if you're Charley Strong or Brian John Marie, the defensive coordinator, you don't know what else to do. I mean, you've got 8 people in the box, literally. Look at the numbers here. And you don't stop the run, and as a matter of fact, it pops out for a touchdown. And that's just poor defense, and that's not the coaches. That's the players not executing. And as SMU takes full advantage of it and now takes a commanding lead at 13-0.
Extra points have been an adventure. They've missed 5 this season. Russell Roberts on for the PAT. They are 2 for 2 today. Xavier Jones, a 5th-year senior, battling injuries most of last year. He's been one of the best running backs in the American in 2019. USF will take it out at the 25-yard line. Cronkrite on first down picks up a couple. Good news for SMU. Richard McBride, who went down on the last drive for USF, is back into the game for SMU at linebacker.
That is a big deal. And it, the injury, he got friendly fire there. He gets rolled up on, and to see him back in the game, I'm sure the SMU staff is excited about that. And then now on the opposite side, Jordan Cronkrite has to come off because his helmet comes off, and so two of the better players missing a play or 2.
McLeod rolling out, looking downfield, throwing downfield, intercepted again by Clemens. His 2nd of the game. He's got 3 on the season. And now SMU to the sideline where they have the turnover table service.
Poorly thrown pass here, just, I mean, way under target. I like what they're doing here, try to get him on the move. And he doesn't have a great arm. I mean, and I think you see it there. I don't know about that. Come on, man.
Yeah, sometimes
it's the 2nd pick of the game. I get it, you know, but are you serious?
Legislate emotion, right?
I mean, was he supposed to lay the ball down? That's a great play, though, rolling underneath coverage, despite the poor throw from McLeod.
I've been popping the cork on the turnover table service. Jones turned back. I don't know about you. When I was in college, I was too broke for table service.
Of course I was. I was a student athlete.
Bottle service, I should say.
Yeah, and they've, you know, you've seen it spread like wildfire. I really enjoy this. I think it's a fun part of the game, and I love that the coaches are getting involved with it and letting the players do what they want to do after a big takeaway.
Back on the ground, and it's Jones again. Sends up 3rd down and about 2.
This keeps them right on schedule, as if you're the Bulls, you've got to get up to the line of scrimmage. And if you're Brian John Marie, the defensive coordinator, you keep it simple.
So does SMU. Give the ball to Xavier Jones. North of 70 yards already in this first quarter.
They have found success also on the right side of that line behind Morris and Bryant. And they just keep going back to the well. And if you're the Bulls right now, you've got to put a plug in this. Somebody's got to make a play. Someone has to step up. Despite them being tired after not getting a lot of rest, as the first quarter comes to an end, this was probably the best timing for this defense.
SMU was flashing a wildcat look to take that quarter down to the final seconds. Xavier Jones, the big offensive star, he's got a couple of touchdowns. Rodney Clemens, a couple of picks. All Mustangs in Tampa. From Tampa, Florida, you're watching ESPN College Football presented by Sling TV. SMU off to its best start since 1984. 4-0 and up 2 touchdowns on South Florida. The Bulls have not beaten an FBS team since October of last year. On first down, it's TJ McDaniel, the freshman out of South Lake, Texas. Came into this season in the red shirt program, then in his debut against Texas State, 8 carries, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. He still may red shirt, but that is now a fluid situation. Buechele going deep for Prochet, breaks it in with one hand. Did he stay in bounds? They will debate. It is a catch.
Whoa.
2 flags down back at the 30. Might have a late hit
And this is what SMU does well. I mean, let's have a look. I mean, he calls that thing.
Roughing the passer. Defense,
that's
number
catch.
45. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I can't tell if his elbow hits before his knee, but Buechele standing up tall and throwing that ball downfield, this team is great at it. I mean, you start to look at some of the numbers with them throwing the ball 20 and 30 and 40-plus yards. They rank among the nation's best in those categories.
Now, they've had a couple of road wins already this season, beating TCU last week.
This is a catch. A great call by the officials. This is a catch, and I think they made the right decision. My question was, Anish, did his elbow go down out of bounds before those knees did? But his knee was clearly in bounds. Great ball skills, beautifully thrown ball. I mean, if you're a DB and you're Mike Hampton, there is nothing you can do.
We'll check with the sideline. Jones, 2 touchdowns in the backfield. He gets it on first down. Jones scampers out of bounds at the 11. Some good blocking by 14 and white Ryan Becker early on.
It was. And now he moves out to, you know, the outside. And that's what makes him so difficult to defend, his versatility.
Back to Jones, stutter step, and taken down at the 10. A short gain, 3rd down here. And remember, SMU, with the inconsistencies in the kicking game, their top kicker, Kevin Robledo, expected back today after missing the last 2 games with a groin injury. But we saw Russell Roberts attempt the PATs today, so this could be 4-down territory. Buechele, plenty of time. Now he'll tuck it. Buechele reaching forward, a yard shy of the marker, and if you're Sonny Dykes, Ahmad, do you go for it here?
You roll the dice. I mean, and he's keeping his offense on, and in fact, he's bringing in some more muscle, and Becker, Ryan Becker, the tight end. Great decision by Buechele. That, and we talked about it early on in the open. That's what's made him different. You know, his freshman and sophomore seasons, he'd have thrown that ball, and it might have been intercepted. This time, he tucks and runs.
USF loading up the box. Buechele rolls to his right. Has Prochet, who waltzes in. Another touchdown for SMU. The Mustangs are for real, folks.
And on the outside edge, they run what is called a rub and a pick route as Buechele boots to his right or moves to his right. And the tight end just comes in and he takes an angle where the safety or the linebacker's at, which allows Prochet to get underneath. And even if you go over the top, you lose because now you give them space. If you go underneath, you're behind. A real pickle that it puts you in with that route, and SMU executed it to perfection.
Now the PAT, and Roberts' kick is good. So 3 for 3 today on the adventurous point afters for SMU. Mustangs, after an early 3 and out, have been rolling all downhill. James Prochet caps another scoring drive. SMU's offense humming. And some early missed opportunities have haunted South Florida. Evans from his own end zone, he'll stay put. Cronkrite on first down. Ambushed. Gets out of it and gets positive yards. Chris?
Anish, for as much as Coach Strong has said this team rallies around McLeod, I thought it was interesting after the second interception. He's just moping around on the sidelines. Not one of his teammates came up to him to offer any kind of encouragement. I talked to McLeod during the week, and he was excited about being able to be more vocal with this team, which I saw after the first series, but since then has been silent.
And so is this offense. There's the blitz. McLeod has time. Completes to Perlette at the 40 for a first down. That ball took a while to get there. If it gets there a little quicker, that could have been a bigger gain.
I'm disappointed it took a while for the teammates to come lift him up. That speaks directly to the leadership of the Bulls team because you've got a young quarterback. You see how good he can be. And yes, he comes down, he throws 2 costly interceptions, but the reality of it is he's your guy. And I think Charley Strong is going to stick with him. They're going to stick this one out, so you better make sure he's motivated.
Sands gets the call on first down for a pickup of 4. McLeod, a local kid, Plant High School right here in Tampa. brother Ray played for Clemson, a wide receiver, now with the Carolina Panthers. Only his second career start. Against the three-man rush, McLeod down the seam, incomplete. He wanted Perlette.
Wow, I'm disappointed here in the SMU defense. They only rushed 3. How in the world does somebody get behind you in coverage that wide open? And McLeod, who doesn't have necessarily a strong arm, just overthrows the wide receiver. But I mean, he had time here. Great pocket, 3-man rush, as you see. And those 2 safeties, I'm not sure what they were doing, but somebody has to be a safety net there, because they were beat on the play, and had McLeod put that ball on the money, USF's fight song would be playing.
What should they have been doing?
Well, I don't know. It appeared as though they both came down. I'm not sure they came down for. Maybe they were underneath routes that they bid on, but something that can't happen.
3rd down now, 4-man rush. McLeod, pocket collapses, and down he goes. Terrence Newman gets the sack. And it's 4th down and another empty drive for the Bulls.
And I'm telling you, that guy likes to eat quarterbacks. He also likes to eat. I mean, he's sitting there at 315, 5'11". I mean, you talk about a stump in the middle of this line. There is no way you move this kid, and you saw him, just a powerful, strong athlete. And you know, and SMU they didn't used to have athletes like this. No, despite his stature and being small, I mean, he's a bull in the middle, and that time there just pushes the line of scrimmage back right into the quarterback's face.
Schneider to punt. Crochet back deep. And this one bounces at the 39, and it goes out of bounds. The Charley Strong era started strong, 17-2. Just 1-8 since, and the gravity of discontent grows on that Bulls sideline. Shane Buechele, son of former big leaguer Steve Buechele, is pitching a perfect game. Dad didn't pitch, he was an infielder. But Shane is 10 for 10, 126 yards. And doing it against his old coach, Charley Strong. Those two teamed up in 2016 at Texas. Strong's final season in Austin. Buechele will throw on 1st down. That's complete to Rice, who's across midfield. A gain of 10, and let's call it a 1st down.
And this offense right now, they're just rolling. They're in a great rhythm and calling the right plays.
Galliard. Again, great downfield blocking. That time it was Granson providing the block to spring Galliard for extra yards. Those bubble screens, those tunnel screens, the blocking sells it.
Yeah.
TJ McDaniel, he's to the 40, 3rd and 1.
And to that point, to be able to get the ball to the perimeter that quickly, you've got to be, Shane Buechele, his background's baseball, and his arm slots, the release points, the things that he does with the ball so quickly, the coaching staff said it's almost like him turning 2.
Buechele will hand it off. That's Kamen Freeman, and a 1st down at the 30.
That was an explosive cut. He just put his foot in the ground and got north and south. Outstanding run from Freeman.
South Florida late getting set up. Buechele, time in the pocket, floats it downfield for Robertson. Robertson, end zone! Touchdown, SMU! Sonny Dykes told us when Cal played Texas in 2016, he was impressed by Shane Buechele's ability to throw the deep ball. And when they looked at what they needed at the quarterback position this year, they said, we knew we had a great downfield threat in Robertson. Who do you pair him with? They thought Buechele would be the perfect complement. It worked.
That's a beautiful ball. I mean, it surprises me when you look at it. And you know, Charley Strong also knew that this was going to be a problem for them. You know, the Bulls have given up big plays through the air, and Buechele is the last man you want to see, who's been one of the best in the country at throwing the deep ball this season.
PAT is good, so special teams even firing on all cylinders for SMU. They had missed 5 extra points coming into today. Buechele, 3 completions for 20 or more yards today, 23 on the season, 13 for 13. What's different about him now than when he was at Texas?
Well, it's his ability to be mobile in the pocket, to be patient as a passer, and I think also his running threat. I mean, I don't think anybody at the University of Texas would have confused him with a runner. He averaged right at around 1 yard a carry there while his time on 40 acres. He comes here, he's averaging 3.3, and we've seen him today even make some plays with his feet. That's been the major difference for Buechele.
A line drive kick, and South Florida will take it to about the 33. McLeod looking for Ford. Incomplete. Covered well by Brandon Stevens. Ahmad, I know you love Stevens' story. Running back all the way throughout high school. Running back at UCLA. Wanted a fresh start. Came to SMU. The coaches said, can you play cornerback? And he essentially had to earn his scholarship. Got a tryout. First practice. Defensive coordinator Kevin Kane says, who had that PBU? It's Stevens. He's now a starting DB playing this position for the first time in his life.
He plays with great confidence, too, and yeah, I like what he's bringing to the table.
McLeod taken down in the backfield. Shane Haley. Chris?
Keep an eye on McLeod's throwing wrist. In between series, he was looking at it, wincing, holding, rolling it. You could tell having some pain in the throwing wrist.
That is just more injury to insult right now for South Florida, already down 28-0. McLeod has thrown 2 interceptions today. SMU showing pressure.
And I think it's coming here. Their DBs are locked up in press coverage on the outside edge.
Bull rush 3. Incomplete, intended for Eddie McDoom. And it's 4th down.
That's a great disguise there from the Mustang defense. They went to that sugar look, and the sugar look means you'll line up 6, 7, 8 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you force the offensive line to decide who's coming as a rusher, but you also put the quarterback in a bad spot because he's thinking, is the pressure coming? That time there, they show the look, back out, and a wonderful play for the defense as McLeod misfires.
Crochet from the 36. Ankle tackled at the 47.
Down.
Greg Reeves, who went down on the last drive when a player was trying to get off the field, is back in. Meanwhile, Jones making everybody miss. And another big game for him. 24 yards for Xavier Jones, already over 100 yards in his first half.
Well, this is what happens. Now they're just taking what they want now.
Now the tempo. Buechele pumps. Downfield for Sanders, incomplete. And we get a flag on the play. It hit Hampton, who never turned around to play the ball.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because the ball was underthrown.
Pass interference, defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He's in prime position, and he's got to try to close that gap there, and that's what happened. Because the ball was underthrown to Sanders, he bumps the wide receiver before the ball gets there. It's the right call to make, but just unfortunate. And Hampton, I know he's thinking, you know, the junior right here from Tampa had an opportunity to get an interception, giving up some big plays today, trying to find his mojo back on the edge.
Jones lost the football. South Florida says they have it, and they do. 12th takeaway of the season for the Bulls. They had 8 in the win against South Carolina State 2 weeks ago, and boy, this South Florida sideline needed that.
Yeah, they did. And poor ball security for the Mustangs. As we talked about, they've scored their last 4 scoring drives. And just trying to make that cut back, the ball gets away from the body. And South Florida with a key turnover inside of the red zone.
To clearly be
After
down.
further review, the runner's left knee was down. It'll be SMU's ball at the 14-yard line, 2nd down.
Buechele has offered a lot of stability, and Crochet has helped. That's the best wide receiver in the American Conference. He's got his 2nd touchdown reception of the day. And right now, SMU's offense is typing in caps lock.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, another dime there from Buechele, but these sure-handed wide receivers are making them pay in coverage. And this is just a wheel route. You know, so he pretends that he's going out, and he comes back up, and it's good coverage there from Vincent Davis for the Bulls, but the ball and the catch were just better, as now we're looking at a 35-0 score with an extra point.
Missed the PAT. 6th missed extra point this season for SMU. That was Roberts on the PAT attempt. He's been the kicker today. We thought we might see Kevin Robledo, who was the kicker and a pretty good one last year, and Robledo's been bothered by a groin injury.
But this is the worst thing that's happened to SMU today, is them missing an extra point, because everything else has gone pretty much as planned and better than I think anyone that's been covering this game expected. I did not expect it to be 34-0 with 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Evans from the 6. Across the 25 and stumbles across the 30. A nice return for Jaquez Evans. Ford in the backfield and now split wide. Flare to Ford. Clemens meets him in the backfield and drives him out of bounds. Johnny Ford excels in space, and SMU has taken away space from this offense today.
I love the way this young man tackles. I like his aggressiveness. I like his approach, his awareness. That time there just doing a nice job of scraping off of the other SMU defender and putting himself in a prime position to make a play with already 2 interceptions on the day. We've seen him do some fine things back there at the safety position. The young man from Katy showing out.
2nd and long. McLeod under pressure again, and he can't get away. The 5th sack by this SMU defense. They have been relentless. On 3rd and long, McLeod under duress. Sacked again. Demrick Gary this time. 6 first-half sacks. Now, Mott, here's the thing, though. If you make the move, just 2 weeks after you made the change, it screams panic. And the optics of it don't look good. And, again, what was Charley Strong's big bugaboo at Texas? The big criticism. The way they handled the quarterback position.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, because like I said, I like McLeod, and I think this kid has a bright future. I really do. However, when it comes down to it, now you look at Barnett, who's there on the sideline. Maybe you need maybe you need the same type of boost that you thought McLeod provided to you 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, pardon me. So now it's a tough decision, and for Charley Strong, he and his staff and Kerwin Bell, they're going to have to make it.
They were very clear. Now, they didn't want to get into a rotating quarterback situation. Sanders fielding the punt back inside his own 25. Good kick that time, 61 yards. And SMU with the ball, 55 seconds to go in a first half dominated by the Mustangs. Buechele off the hands of McDaniel. 26 seconds to go.
That's a nice check down, you know, and McDaniel thought he had pressure behind him, but there was no one. He could have picked up an extra 15, 20 yards behind him. Buechele, seeing that everybody had dropped back deep in coverage, and checks it down.
McDaniel on the swing pass. Broke the initial tackle, picks up positive yards, only 2, Boyles the stop, and a timeout by SMU. 17 seconds to go in the half. But from what we've seen, and we have a pretty good sample size now, the TCU win was telling last week. Yep. This SMU team, it has a chance to have a special season. Non-conference win, but still big. Buechele, downfield, wants Prochet, that's intercepted. Devin Studstill, the Notre Dame transfer. And he's taken down in SMU territory, a 37-yard return, and there's still 5 seconds left in this opening half.
Yeah, he took a shot, and Studstill, he stands out to me also on film, and he makes really good decisions. He's very comfortable in the middle of the field, does a nice job of playing the game with the quarterback. But that was just an outstanding angle and managed to get around him. What an athletic play to get around the wide receiver, still managed to catch the ball with his hands and then run after the catch. Devin Studstill, as you mentioned it, coming from Notre Dame. I think this is a young man that will have an opportunity as he's a graduate transfer to play at the next level.
Charley Strong recruited him out of high school. One last chance for SMU, or rather USF. McLeod will try to throw it as far as he can, or nope, checked out. And Cronkrite gets out of bounds, but the half is over. What does Charley Strong say to his Bulls? For Sonny Dykes, there's a lot to like. SMU opening up a can in the first 30 minutes. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, Chris Budden with you in Tampa. SMU off to its best start since 1984. I don't know if Big Brother is watching, but the rest of college football needs to start paying attention to the Mustangs. This is a team that can make considerable noise in the group of 5, and their first half was a complete demolition of South Florida. The Bulls will receive the second half kickoff. Fielded at the 5. And Ford taken down at the 22. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks. Today's mayhem moment is brought to you by Allstate. Where do you want to pick? I mean, SMU had about 6 or 7 mayhem moments in that first half.
Yeah, I think this is more about the Mustangs than it is about the Bulls. This team is for real, and offensively right now they're clicking on all cylinders. Buechele with excellent pocket mobility and drops a dime to Buechele with the catch. And then you come back, Xavier Jones right up the middle, despite the box being packed, for a touchdown, untouched. And then they come back, another big-time ball from Buechele for a touchdown. And this offense is just flat out rolling.
Blake Barnett in at quarterback to begin the second half, and he finds Johnny Ford for a big gain. Chris Budden, you just spoke to Charley Strong. This is a surprise.
I did. He told me we're going to stick with what we're doing, which was McLeod. So that obviously changed within the last 60 seconds. He was also not a man of many words, and we're getting our tails kicked and walked off. So obviously making the change.
I think you can do both. I really do. I think you can put Barnett in the game and still start McLeod next week and just say, big fella, retire on this one.
They get it to Ford. And in the first half, they couldn't get Johnny Ford as many touches as they would have liked. He returned the kick. They go to Ford on first down. They go to Ford again. That seems to be the game plan here.
He's a special, dynamic player, and Barnett here has the better arm. I don't think anybody would argue that. And so they'll look for him to pass the football and to try to operate.
Barnett started the first 2 games. Second year with South Florida. And he'll run out of bounds toward midfield. And that moves the chains. Blake Barnett, a few years ago, was Alabama's Week 1 starter. That was 2016 when Shane Buechele was starting for Texas. Jalen Hurts replaced him as the starter the very next week. Barnett eventually transferred to Arizona State before finding a home in Tampa. They'll hand it off. Cronkrite with a gain of 4. Barnett last year was also the king of comebacks for South Florida. Remember, they started 7-0 before losing their last 6 games a year ago, and in those 7 wins, there was maybe some smoke and mirrors, but 4 times they were tied or trailing in the fourth quarter, and with Barnett at quarterback, they won all those games. Pono Davis the stop after the carry by Cronkrite.
Because of all that movement, you know, the irony is that this young man has seen 6 different offensive coordinators throughout his career, and you know, it's got to be very difficult for him to be able to learn the different verbiage and to be able to remember and lock in on one particular scheme.
4-man rush. Barnett has time. Incomplete. He wanted Ford, and it's 4th down. This drive sort of sums up the afternoon for South Florida, the nightmare of real things. You get a little bit of momentum. Barnett seemed to jumpstart the offense. You're getting the ball to Ford. Schneider, the 29-year-old Australian, will punt. Crochet waits at his own 10-yard line. Fair catch is called for and made at the 16. Another missed opportunity for South Florida. SMU will get its first chance of the second half. He was elected a captain in the fall.
He's an outstanding young man. My time of covering him there while he was at the University of Texas, just did things the right way, has the right approach to being a student athlete.
Three-man rush on third down. Buechele scrambling, chased by Reeves, finds McDaniel for a first down. TJ McDaniel, the freshman, a gain of 24.
Well, I said it to open the show. This is the difference. And you may wonder, well, what has Buechele done that he didn't do at Texas? This right here. He throws across his body, takes his shot, and puts the ball on the money. Buechele is playing big-time football.
As Galliard brings it to the 46.
And as you start to stack up, you know, the things that he does well, we asked him, you know, even yesterday as a staff, like, how does he manage the team? And he said, I give full responsibility to my DC, my OC. I handle the players and things that relate to the players. And, you know, there are a lot of different systems, Anish, that work. At the end of the day, though, he wants to win championships, and they haven't been able to do that despite having a really good team when he comes in here in year one. And so there's this outside noise. And you begin to question whether he's a good head coach or not, because to your point, he's been an outstanding defensive coordinator in his history as a coach. And frankly, as the Mustangs pick up what appears to be another first down.
Yeah, Merrick Pierce, the freshman or the senior running back in the game.
I don't think that conversation stops. You know, today, we talk about them playing great defense. They've been poor today defensively. Offensively, it looks like they're struggling to find answers, and now you're back into a quarterback controversy, despite him telling our own Chris Button that, listen, McLeod's our guy. And I do believe that he said that to McLeod, hey, we're going to put you on the bench. Hadn't been your day. But now, what is the locker room thinking? Now, what is McLeod thinking? So Charley Strong has some management things that have kind of hung over his head in his last two stops. That's something that, if you're Charley Strong, you've got to correct in a hurry.
And Pierce with a 3-yard gain. And what's the narrative going to be this week in the media? Absolutely. I know Charley Strong may not care about that, but you live in Austin, you played at Texas, you had a first-hand look at what happened there, and do you see a little bit of history repeating?
It is, and I think it comes with perhaps he didn't have a lot of talent to open up with at Texas, and a bunch of entitled babies.
Tyler Page sets up third down.
Yeah, it didn't really have a lot of offensive talent to work with, and you bring in your offensive coordinator, you're trying to change the system, trying to also clean up the program as a...
We were talking before we went to break just about the big picture worldview on this Bulls football program right now that has been in a tailspin since the middle of last year. Buechele escaping the initial pressure, and Shane slides for a first down. They're going to get a flag at the end of the play. Studstill flew at the quarterback, who's a defenseless player, when going into the slide.
Buechele once again buying time on his feet. That's outstanding.
And I think you see that from Buechele, a little tap on the head for Studstill, knowing that there was no malice there. Yeah. It was a player looking to make a move, and the quarterback goes into a slide. And now sometimes this becomes a foul, sometimes it's just targeting.
Foul. Fit. To half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And no targeting there, but
watch the timing here, Anish, of this slide. I mean, Buechele slides late. This is a difficult play here for a defender to make, because you're already going into your impact position, right? So now, you know, and give Buechele credit. It was an excellent run. He did slide, and as you said, when he slides, he's a defenseless player. And if you're Studstill, you have to continue to play with the aggression that he plays with and the aggressiveness, because that's what's made him one of the best in the American at doing what he does.
Merrick Pierce into the game. He gets the call, fighting ahead to the 11-yard line, a gain of about 3.
Yeah, and to pick up the conversation with Charlie, my thing is, even in a situation like this where you've got a young ball club, how do they look when they come out of the locker room? What's your message to them? What are you saying?
After a bye week.
100%. So you've had 2 weeks to prepare for one of the hottest teams in the country, and today it didn't appear as though that was an edge for you, as you're still trying to look for some points, and the Mustangs have, galloped all up and down the field. So we'll see, and I think a lot of this is you have a young team, and young players respond this way.
Pierce brought down by Greg Reeves, a former walk-on. He was guaranteed a scholarship by Willie Taggart, and then Taggart left to take the Oregon job.
Great story.
Was left hanging in the wind, thought about leaving. The new coaching staff talked to him. They said, listen, we'll give you a chance to earn a scholarship. And he did just that, rising from 6th to 1st positionally on the depth chart.
That's a great story, and it's a great story of perseverance, but it's also, this young man has done it right. And defensive coordinator Brian John Marie said, normally I'll tell you, I can't say there's not anything wrong with a player, but he said this guy just does things the right way, and it's good to see him rewarded.
He played middle linebacker last year when they had an injury. Buechele. Is he in? He is.
And if I were Sonny Dykes, that'd be his last play. I mean, what hasn't he done today? And I tell you, if you're a fan of the game, or you're a fan of SMU, or even if you're in the Dallas area, Texas area, believe me, these Mustangs are for real, and it's because number 7 has waited his turn. He sat behind Sam Ehlinger a year ago after losing his job, didn't complain, was his greatest supporter. And now he's been handed the keys to this Mustangs program, and he's doing everything he can. But it's his feet, not his brains, not his arms, that has made him so dangerous on the field. Once again, avoiding pressure, getting outside, and scoring a touchdown with his feet, something you'd have never seen in his freshman and sophomore season.
Kevin Robledo attempting the PAT back after a 2-game injury. Shane Buechele with a smile as wide as the panhandle. And why not? The Mustangs rolling 41-0 SMU, coming off a big win against TCU. Sonny Dykes wondered how his team would handle the added buzz and the budding national attention the Mustangs are receiving. Oh, they made believers out of all of us early. From the very first quarter, they have dominated this game thoroughly. A 9-play, 50-yard drive capped by a Shane Buechele 10-yard touchdown run. Meanwhile, it has been nothing but disarray on the South Florida sidelines today. They've already changed quarterbacks after making a QB change 2 weeks ago. Evans from the 5. And taken down at the 25. It's been a problem all year. Barnett looking for Wilcox, who brings it in. Mitchell Wilcox, one of the best tight ends in the country. And Ahmad, I think you can sit here and say, why aren't we saying his name more? Why aren't they using him more?
Well, let me tell you something. Barnett knows what kind of weapon he has. I mean, look at him here. That's a great route. I mean, it looks like a wide receiver. Created separation for sure on Richard McBride, and then makes an acrobatic catch behind him.
Ooh. Kelly Joyner had some nice runs in the win against South Carolina State a few weeks ago. USF feels they have a Power 5 talented Joyner. Had a broken leg his senior year in high school. A lot of the bigger programs backed off. Charley Strong coached his uncle, Tony, while at Florida. There's Johnny Ford. He's their best playmaker, reverses field. Ford skirts to the outside, gets a block from his QB, and picks up a first down.
Oh, my.
He's got some wiggle.
I'm not going to say it, but there used to be a number 20.
Oh, yeah.
That did a little bit of that. I mean, this is just, listen, you can't coach this up. The ball was thrown a tad bit late. But, I mean, he's like Houdini out there. Now you see me, now you don't. What? I mean, wow. Outstanding blocking. Even Barnett gets in on the blocking action, but we knew it. They wanted to try to get him the ball, and you can see why this is a dynamic player indeed.
5'5", 180, lightning in a shot glass. Barnett completes to Mathis, using the tight ends on this drive, a gain of 9.
It's a great catch there. Both of these tight ends are used very differently, but we talked about They're saying an incomplete catch. Now that's what the official is saying. He's ruling it an incomplete catch. We expect this to be reviewed.
Unless you invoke the competitive effect rule where the replay officials can judge if the game is past the point of being competitive, and you can make the argument that's the case here. They do not have to review every play then.
I'd say.
Now, you called Sharpie early in the second quarter.
It just didn't look good, man.
Yeah,
and,
you weren't wrong.
And the reality of it is sometimes as a team, when things start going downhill, man, it's hard to stop. And when you have strong leaders, you can try to plug it up. But, this is a team that's void of strong leadership because of their youthfulness.
Barnett moves the pocket. Throws on the run. He's got Mathis again. And Mathis reaching for the pylon. Touchdown. I wasn't sure initially if he got in, but the field judge ruled touchdown. And again, if competitive effect is in play here, they may not review this.
I think he got in.
That is a touchdown.
Wow.
Hits the pylon
Jeez.
Before he goes out of bounds.
What an outstanding play from the young man right outside, right here in Tampa. The awareness, too. Jeez. Good play.
Before he touches down out of bounds, he hits that pylon. Kobe Weiss. First score of the game for South Florida, just their second touchdown against FBS competition this season. And Chris, I know Charley Strong told you that Jordan McLeod is their guy. Blake Barnett has come out here in the second half, and he's at least been able to move the ball offensively for South Florida.
It's more than just Barnett. There was a lot going on. The offensive line wasn't blocking. They couldn't get creases. Guys were having silly penalties. The list goes on. But the reality of it is when you're the quarterback, you get the praise, and you also get the blame. And he told Barnett that. And so as you see this, and he's old. He gets it. I'm sure he's had these lumps before and gone through the ups and downs of playing college football.
C.J. Sanders. Dancing to the outside. He is dangerous on returns. And with another nice return for the Mustangs. New quarterback for SMU, Terrence Gibson. His second game of the season. He, by the way, had an offer from Nebraska coming out of high school. South Florida finally got on the board in this third quarter, but Shane Buechele and the Mustangs with a 41-7 lead. They have a chance to play as a ranked team at home next week. The last time SMU played as a ranked team, Bill Buckner had a grounder go through his legs. AP Rankings brought to you by Capital One. Clemson just got a stop on a two-point conversion attempt by North Carolina, as Terrence Gibson runs for a first down for SMU. Gibson, the backup quarterback today. William Brown did not dress. Bama up big on Ole Miss. Ohio State at Nebraska tonight. Oklahoma continues to roll, and Wisconsin got a bit of a challenge from Northwestern today before hanging on. Notre Dame pulling away from Virginia. I thought SMU would be ranked after the win against TCU last week. I know South Florida is about to drop to 1-3, and this doesn't help their case, but the way they've built on last week, to me, coming out with a dominating performance, it validates further what happened in Fort Worth a week ago, and I would expect SMU to be ranked. I think they should be ranked when they play Tulsa a week from today.
Well, if you're looking at the film, and it's hard not to see the talent that they have, and a hungry ball team.
Eric Williams.
And I think to your point, Manish, even the USF staff, they recognize it. They told us, they said, this doesn't look like your typical SMU team. I mean, they've got length. They're long, they're strong, they're big, they're fast. I mean, all the things that you associate with the top teams in the top conferences. And, you know, as you mentioned earlier, I think the schedule sets up perfectly for them. It looks like they've got leadership. And I really like Sonny Dykes. After talking to him yesterday and being recruited by his father, Spike Dykes, I could tell you this much. You start to get that feeling. You know, he's He looks like the guy that you just want to be around the fire with, telling crazy football stories. And I asked him, I said, what did you learn from your dad? He said, you know, to treat everybody the same. And right now, that is paying major dividends for him because he's getting big-time recruits.
Gibson can't get away. It's third down. SMU, since the death penalty, has not had a ton of success. They went to 4 straight bowl games with June Jones, but when they did, they didn't have a lot of in-state players.
Yep.
You live in Texas, and you know people still kind of gave them some side eye. Yeah, you're winning, but
right.
You're not winning with Texans. Chad Morris, when he took the job and he came back to Texas where he had been a successful high school coach, that was part of his MO. I'm going to recruit the state of Texas. Sonny Dykes has built on that, but he's added a layer with the transfers. And you're seeing a good one today in Shane Buechele. You see one in Reggie Robertson, who was here before Dykes took over, as Williams pinballs his way near midfield. The Texans and the transfers from the state of Texas, inviting them back home. This is now a program where guys are looking to go when they want to come back home.
It's amazing to me. And, you know, and when they put Dallas across their chest a few weeks ago, they were really trying to secure the boundaries there in a very fertile recruiting ground. And I had guys that I played with at Texas retweeting the picture out that are from Dallas, like representing Dallas, you know, and it was a very unique thing to do. And I asked him about it, and he said, you know, that's the plan. We want to do that. And so I think the fact that if you're Sonny Dykes and you're now opening your arms up to these guys that are having struggles and want to get back home, I think it's a great theory. But on the flip side, also Charley Strong is doing the exact same thing here in the Florida area. So 2 programs really taking advantage of the transfer portal.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the transfer portal, but you're looking at 2 schools today that stand to benefit from this new age in college football.
Welcome back to Tampa. This transfer portal has become such a big deal at schools like SMU that Sonny Dykes has a meeting every day at 5 p.m. to discuss who has entered the transfer portal that day. They have one person that keeps track of it. On top of that, the whole idea with Dallas is that they hope they don't eventually have to get guys out of the portal, that the Dallas across the chest will change the perception of high school players wanting to come there. And guys like TJ Daniel, who was on a billboard, that one day they'll be able to say, I want to be on a billboard too over 114 like TJ Daniel was, and come straight to SMU, not have to go somewhere first and come straight to SMU.
A nice run there by Blake Barnett. Chris, you live in Dallas. Do you get the sense that the branding is working of marketing SMU as Dallas's team?
I do, and it's not actually just for recruits either. It's for the fans. When you think about that, high school football stadiums sell out, the Cowboys sell out. For as much as that city loves football, why isn't the SMU stadium selling out? So it's not just about branding for the Dallas Independent School District and the high schools to want to come there, but also get the entire city rallying around a college so that Saturdays at SMU are an entire experience.
And that man right there, Sonny Dykes, said it. He said at his time at TCU, he noticed that people that graduated from Texas and A&M were buying season tickets to TCU football games. And he said he wants SMU to be the Dallas program that people want to watch, a fun style of football that wins games.
Barnett fires it downfield, and he completes.
Meanwhile, while we're talking about the transfer portal, a transfer here really doing a fine job of making some plays here for what looked to be a very dead Bull football team.
And there's Bryce Miller, joined the team as a walk-on last year, and he transferred from Southeastern University. Flag down.
Wow. Face mask, defense, half distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And we're certainly looking at the backups in this ball game, and I think every coach will tell you, you know, you want them to gain this experience, but you also are looking for guys that make plays on both sides of the ball. For Charley Strong, and he still has a few of his starting contributors out there, but primarily he also has backups. So you're just trying to see who's going to respond and make their play.
Barnett against the blitz. End zone, touchdown, Bryce Miller. So Blake Barnett has come in here in the second half, and he's led USF to a couple of touchdown drives. And remember, there was one early where the Bulls were moving the ball downfield. Barnett had to come off the field because his helmet came off on the next play. The ball was snapped over Evans's head.
He's looked sharp. And here's what, if you're watching at home, these are the backups for the Mustangs.
Sure.
So he's doing it, but he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be. The one thing I've been surprised with is his athleticism. I mean, despite his size at 6'5", 225, the kid moves very well, as that one's nearly blocked by the Mustangs.
He's a mature young man, married, wife Maddie, a pro surfer, has a son Brooks, and a touchdown pass here. Barnett to Bryce Miller.
Those are real sharks.
I actually found it very calming. Very peaceful.
Well, I'll tell you what, our crew, we get a chance to do some really fun things, and you have to take advantage if you're in Tampa of the Tampa Bay Aquarium. Our buddy here, our niche, one of our leaders, he can't swim. So all week long, Chris and I were on him about it. And to your credit, Anish, you fought through for the team. Thank you. Chris, how funny was that?
I was so proud of Anish. He was so scared. He got up there and did it. But we were like in close proximity. I wish I just asked him if he had used the bathroom before we got in there.
I swear, I should have brought adult diapers. Those were real sharks. They put you in a tank. They submerge you. Chris is a certified lifeguard. There's me. I'm frightened and terrified to let go of the ledge.
Look at the two Texans. We're just in it. We're going. We're out.
Not only can I not swim, again, there's real sea life, and you're swimming right by these sharks, and they're hitting up against your legs. And remember, I'm from Jersey, where swimming with the fishes has a connotation.
Anish, I tried to explain to you, as a former lifeguard, I got you. If anything were to happen, I got you.
Now, Chris, I'm sure you are tough as nails. You've proven that. But it's a shark.
I find it oddly relaxing and calming, to be quite honest.
Oh, man. You know,
maybe it's because I didn't want to move. I was afraid if I like kicked my legs at all, it would like distract the shark, and they'd come right for you.
The Florida Aquarium. Great folks there.
It was
Megan and Matthew and Wayne and Roger. Everybody there really made it a great experience. Was I petrified? Absolutely.
I'm just proud of you.
For all the pregame motivation that they gave us, hey, these are lazy sharks. They're sand tiger sharks. They don't really bother you. Chris, you saw the teeth. Those were real shark teeth.
They were real, and they swim with their mouths open. So like, there were eels too, stingrays.
Oh boy, it's good times.
But they were lazy.
We're here, we're alive. I kind of now know how the rest of the crew feels about me. Hey, let's throw the guy who can't swim in a shark tank. Okay.
You did great.
I'm going to file that one away.
You did great, man. I was proud of you. And I can swim, but there were a few times when you see this big sea turtle coming at you and it's snapping, and it was an unbelievable experience. And speaking of sharks, I think that's exactly what's happened here today. There was a hungry shark coming out of Dallas, Texas that has flat out devoured a bull.
That was nice.
There goes the lead shark right there, Buechele.
Well, third down here for SMU. Gibson standing in the pocket, escaping. He'll take off. And he beats Reeves and angles out of bounds, and he's got a first down. Nice run by Terrence Gibson, but hang on, there is a flag. 2.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 55. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's the 20th flag of the ball game, guys. I mean, 20th? Jeez.
Perhaps some of the officials are auditioning. Was it the Cecil B. DeMille line? I'm ready for my close-up.
We're officially off the rails. Oh, man.
You look at the penalties. This is the third time South Florida has had at least 9 penalties in a ball game. Nice moves by Tyler Page to get free down the sideline. Junior out of Friendswood, Texas, and more penalty markers fly upon Ahmad's request.
Jeez. And this is just a silly play on the end of this. As
after the play,
Bellamy.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, defense number 4, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Greg Reeves. And the Mustangs last started 5-0 in 1983. They have a chance to potentially play at home next week as a ranked team for the first time since '86. There's Levine. Hammerheads forward to the 10-yard line. Now I got the shark lingo in my head.
That was vicious. I mean, he lowered his helmet and pads and ran through the defender.
A little different than the pediatric baby shark novellas that I've been reading of late.
Oh boy.
Page lines up in the slot. Gibson in at quarterback. William Brown, the regular backup, not playing today. He did not dress. The give is to Levine. Third down coming up for SMU. You start talking about the best teams in the group of five. Certainly UCF is still in that conversation despite the loss to Pitt a week ago. Boise State, part of the Mountain West, which showed incredibly well in non-conference early in the season. Boise State currently the highest ranked group of five team, and SMU pecking at the door, knocking at the door of the top 25. They received a lot of votes this past week. They were 28th if you want to drag the poll down a little further. But if this season continues on an upward trajectory, I think you can dream a little bit in Dallas in the Metroplex. Levine again. And it sets up 1st and goal at the 1.
They're making noise. And this is a completely different team, in my opinion. And I think the way that Shane Buechele is operating, some of the leaders that have emerged, and they now have competition. And this is one of the best defenses. You and I talked about it all week long when we were watching film together. In their history, these guys are playing well. They're stopping the run. They're very aggressive on the outside edge. They're playing excellent bump and run coverage. They've got great athletes. And that was on display today. So we'll see when it's all said and done. But I think SMU is a true contender.
Levine pushing forward. They'll be marked shy. SMU bringing in some size. Elijah Chapman, 93, a defensive tackle, came in to block.
This is always fun for the big boys. You get an opportunity to finally hit somebody downhill and to block. But I've been impressed with what Levine's been able to do. He's running behind his pads, and listen, he's right now he's smelling the end zone. And if you're this Bulls defense, it's going to be hard to prevent him, as he was probably going to get another carry here from getting in the end zone.
And he's in the end zone. Touchdown by Levine. The PAT is good. Tyler Levine into the end zone. And the Mustangs continue to drive. Gorgeous setting sun, the diminishing daylight here of Tampa. And we've got 5:01 to play. SMU on its way to a 5-0 start amidst the purple haze of the Sunshine State. Roberts to kick it off after the touchdown by Levine, the first of Tyler Levine's career. Here's Johnny Ford. Ford taken down shy of the 20.
And then I think with how SMU continues to play, we'll see what happens if they can stay unbeaten and make their way to an undefeated battle between those two teams in the championship. You'd like to think that the committee is going to have to make a decision on whether his team can hang or not.
Barnett finds Mathis, who has a touchdown catch today. Jordan McLeod struggled for South Florida, just his second career start, and Barnett has played the entire second half. But Charley Strong told Chris Budden before the second half kickoff that McLeod is still the guy. Read into that what you will. Barnett will check down. Joyner spun down in plus territory. Chris?
One of the things in watching McLeod this second half, he was still holding that right wrist. You could tell he's in some pain. So I didn't get a chance to ask Charlie if the move has been because of that or because of performance, but that's something we'll have to find out afterwards.
Yeah.
It can certainly be both. And I think this is where we talked about it earlier, the management of the team, where Charley Strong has a tough decision to make. And no doubt about it, the local media is going to ask. They asked him this week at his presser. They're going to ask him next week at his presser, who is the guy? And Charlie's going to also have to sell that to his team. When you have a quarterback controversy and a competition, the players want to know who's going to be the guy that gets the first snap for our offense.
Barnett rolling to his right, downfield, and that's complete to Wilcox. A lot of the second stringers in there defensively for SMU. Now, Barnett has played against second-string defensive players in the second half, but he was also the established starter going into the season. Nobody really thought South Florida would make a QB change. Not this early. Barnett was cemented, and yeah, you just kind of figured he would be the guy this year, but lost his job after 2 games. Looking for Miller, incomplete. We get a flag. He was tangled up with Chevin Callaway.
Yeah, clearly pass interference there. And I think what also made the decision a little more clear for Charley Strong was that the offense didn't score.
Pass interference, defense, number 11. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, the offense didn't score for 6 quarters under Barnett. And you were expecting this veteran to be able to stabilize a team, and because he had experience in multiple offenses, etc. And Barnett also said, he's on record as saying, this offense fits me. Fits him a lot better than the Sterling Gilbert offense, but still lacked to produce touchdowns and points. And that makes it hard for a head coach when you've got a young freshman from the area who you feel like has some dynamic abilities to not only run the football, but make plays.
End zone, Wilcox, touchdown.
One thing for sure, he's carved up this defense with the tight end, and he has nailed them. And these guys have made themselves available. One thing that McLeod wasn't able to do, and this is, look, Wilcox could start for most Power 5 teams. I mean, he's legit. This tight end is as good as they come in the country. He's got great ball skills. He can block. He can run. He runs routes. And he will be a guy that I think will play on Sundays. And Barnett came out in the second half and really used him the way he should be.
PAT by Weiss is good. Looks like the lineup for an onside kick. SMU not quite ready for it. Mustangs still recover. It did not go 10 yards, so a flag is down. Sonny Dykes, a man with a plan.
You know, and you brought the question up to Sonny Dykes, can this team handle now being in the spotlight? And now that's your question. Do you have enough leaders on this ball team, enough humble guys that will still stay hungry and work and be 1-0, as Shane Buechele has said all year long? We just want to be 1-0 each and every week. If they can do that, at the end of the year, the Mustangs will be in the mix for an American Conference title. And in addition to that, who knows, as we're talking here, that they've got a greater chance in the Pac-12 out of this conference to be in the college football playoff.
It's a team we could certainly be seeing playing in a New Year's Six Bowl. Sonny Dykes and Charley Strong. Last time they met after the game, 2016, one was at Cal, the other at Texas. Shane Buechele was Charley Strong's quarterback that day.
Wow.
Today, a tremendous performance against his old coach. Chris with Sonny Dykes.
Coach, you didn't know how your team would respond to all of the hype. You saw out there today how they respond.
Yeah, I thought we started really well, played really well the first half. Was happy with the way the guys played. Got a little sloppy in the second half. We played a lot of young players, but I thought, I thought we were focused. Thought the guys did a great job of preparing during the week. So I was pleased with the effort.
In a game that could have been emotional for Shane going up against his former coach, what did you see out of him today?
Well, I thought he was really steady, particularly early in the game. I think he was like 15 or 16 or something to start the game. I thought he played really well, and he's been the guy for us. We got him hit too many times. We got to get that fixed. But I thought he played well and really did a good job of leading our offense.
You head back to Dallas at 5-0. What's allowed for so much success in just your second year?
Well, we got a lot of good players, and they're really playing hard, and they're buying in, and so it's a lot of fun to coach these guys. I really enjoy being around them every day, and they're a great bunch of kids, and we just keep getting better.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Shane Buechele was tremendous. 3 touchdown passes. He ran for another score. Shane, come back. Shane's going back to Dallas. with the best SMU team in more than 3 decades. The Mustangs are 5-0 for the first time since 1983. They could suit up as a ranked team next week for the first time since 1986. Might be some magic in Big D the next 2 months. For Ahmad Brooks and Chris Budden, I'm Anish Shroff. Now to ESPN Goal Line.